Have you ever caught yourself rereading the same line in a book 3 times? Or walking into the kitchen, opening the fridge, and just standing there, wondering why you came? And then this little voice creeps in, wait. Is this dementia? Is this how it starts? You're not alone. That exact question, is my poor concentration a sign of early dementia? Is something I hear every single week in my clinic. Some people brush it off. Some feel too embarrassed to ask. But many stay silent, until one day, it's no longer just forgetfulness. It's memory loss that disrupts their lives. And that's the moment when we all wish we had noticed the signs earlier. When we wish someone had told us, not with fear, but with honesty and care, that focus, clarity, and brain health are connected much earlier than we think. So today, as a brain doctor, I want to sit with you, not just to explain the science behind it, but to walk you through the signs, the risk factors, and more importantly, what you can do now, before it becomes too late. Because losing focus isn't always just getting old. Sometimes, it's your brain whispering for help. Let's go back to where it often begins, the moments when the brain starts slipping, quietly, before anyone notices. You don't always notice when it starts. It's not like your memory just vanishes overnight. It begins in the quietest ways, like needing subtitles for a movie you used to follow easily. Or zoning out in the middle of a conversation with your grandchild, nodding along while your mind drifts elsewhere. For Mr. Gerald, a retired teacher in New Jersey, it began with small slips, forgetting which day of the week it was, then missing a bill payment for the first time in his life. At first, everyone around him thought it was harmless. Even he laughed it off. But when his wife started noticing he was repeating stories, or struggling to follow instructions while cooking, that's when the alarm bells rang. You see, this isn't about dramatic memory loss. It's about cognitive decline that creeps in subtly. Early signs of dementia symptoms don't scream, they whisper. And here's the part that hits home. By the time clear memory loss appears, the brain might have already been under silent pressure for years. So what's causing this silent drift? Let's look deeper, because sometimes, it's not just memory. It's the blood vessels in your brain sending early warning signals. Let me ask you something, have you ever stood up too quickly and felt a bit dizzy? Or had days where your brain feels like it's wrapped in fog, even though you got a full night's sleep? That foggy feeling, where it's hard to concentrate, follow a book, or remember what you walked into the kitchen for, isn't always about aging. It could be your brain saying, hey, I'm not getting enough blood down here. Your brain is like a garden. And that garden needs water. The water? That's blood circulation. And when the flow gets weak, the plants, your thoughts, your memory, your sharpness, start to wilt. One of the biggest hidden links between concentration problems and dementia is something many seniors have never heard of, vascular dementia. It happens when blood vessels in the brain are damaged, slowly starving brain cells of oxygen and nutrients. And when that happens, your brain doesn't just slow down, it struggles. This kind of cognitive decline isn't always caused by Alzheimer's. Sometimes, it's the stroke and dementia risk living quietly in your arteries. So the question is, if blood flow matters this much, is there a way to notice the signs early, before the damage becomes permanent? Let's talk about that in the next part. Sometimes the signs are so quiet, they feel like background noise in your day. You forget your neighbor's name, but remember it 5 minutes later. You reread a sentence 3 times, and blame it on being tired. You walk into a room, and just stand there. These don't seem dramatic. They don't scream dementia symptoms. But they whisper something important, your brain is asking for support. One patient told me, "Doc, I thought I was just stressed. Turns out, my brain was running low on oxygen from poor circulation." Another woman in her early 70s said, "I thought I was just getting older. But now I know these were early signs of cognitive decline, and no one told me. You see, early memory loss isn't always about forgetting an event. Sometimes, it's forgetting how to organize your thoughts, or how to stay focused on a task. And if you have other dementia risk factors, like high blood pressure, diabetes, or previous mini-strokes, these little signs mean more than we think. So how can you spot the difference between normal forgetfulness and the kind of early trouble that needs your attention? In the next part, we'll do a simple self-check together. You might be surprised by what shows up. Alright, friend, let's do a quick check together. No pressure. Just you and me, right here. I want you to close your eyes after I ask this question, and take a deep breath. Then answer honestly, from your gut. Here's the question: in the past week, how often did you read something and realize your mind was somewhere else? Was it once? Twice? Or did you have to reread almost everything? Now, be honest, did that happen while watching a show, or even during a conversation? That moment, where your brain drifts, that's not just distraction. It could be a sign that your senior brain health isn't getting the fuel it needs. And when this happens regularly, especially after 60, it may point toward early cognitive decline or even hidden blood flow issues linked to vascular dementia. A healthy brain should be like a well-lit kitchen. You walk in, the lights come on, you know where everything is. But if the lights flicker or take too long to turn on, you start bumping into things, and that's what your brain feels like when it's low on oxygen or key nutrients. So now the question is, can we do something about it? What if just one habit a day could help bring clarity and calm back to your mind? Let's walk into that together in the next part. Let me tell you something I've seen work, not in studies, but in real life. Every morning, at exactly 9 a.m., Mr. Gerald, 73, retired teacher from Ohio, fills a glass of room temperature water and drinks it slowly near the window. That's it. No fancy supplements. No brain puzzles. Just a glass of water at the same time every day. I asked him once, why 9 a.m.? He smiled and said, because that's when I used to lose focus the most. Now, I water my brain, like a plant. And it listens. You see, even mild dehydration, just 1.5%, can shrink the brain's capacity to process information by nearly 20%. That's a big hit for something we don't even feel coming. And when the brain runs dry, our memory becomes patchy. That's not just forgetfulness, it's one of the early dementia symptoms we often overlook. Keeping the brain hydrated is one of the simplest ways to support dementia prevention and reduce stroke and dementia risk. Especially for older adults, water helps maintain blood volume, oxygen delivery, and a clearer mental state throughout the day. But hydration is only one piece. What about nutrition? Let me take you into the kitchen of a woman named Diane who changed her entire brain health with just one ingredient. Ready? Let's go there next. Have you ever opened the fridge and wondered what to eat that actually helps your brain? Diane, 69, from Tampa, did just that. One afternoon, after forgetting where she parked, twice in the same week, she sat down and thought, this isn't just aging. Something's off. She started reading about senior brain health, and one line stood out, your brain is made of 60% fat. Feed it smart fats. So every day at 3 p.m., she slices half an avocado, sprinkles a bit of sea salt, and eats it slowly with green tea. After 3 weeks, she told me, I still misplace things sometimes, but I'm sharper. I finish my crossword again. I feel. Here. The healthy fats in avocado help nourish brain cells, protecting them against cognitive decline and improving memory retention. Omega-rich foods like avocado may even lower the risk of vascular dementia, by improving blood flow to the brain. This isn't a magic fix. But it's a lifestyle to prevent dementia that begins one mindful bite at a time. Of course, food helps. Water helps. But what about the way we talk to ourselves in moments we forget? Because sometimes, the real fog isn't from the body. It's from the fear. And that's exactly where we're going next. Have you ever caught yourself saying, "Oh no, I'm losing it," just because you forgot a name? That's what Margaret, 73, from Oregon, told me during our first session. She'd walk into a room, forget what she came for, and instead of laughing it off, her chest would tighten. She'd think, is this how dementia starts? Am I heading toward Alzheimer's disease? This fear isn't just emotional. It changes your brain chemistry. Cortisol, the stress hormone, starts flooding your system, interfering with memory formation. Margaret wasn't just forgetting. She was scared of forgetting. And that fear made her forget more. This loop, from fear to forgetfulness to more fear, is something I see too often. And it matters, because dementia and depression are deeply connected. Long-term anxiety and low mood can increase the risk of cognitive decline, and make symptoms appear faster in those with early dementia risk factors. So what did we do with Margaret? We started with something simple. Instead of saying "I'm losing it," she learned to say, "I need a pause, and that's okay." Every time she forgot something, she placed her hand gently on her chest, breathed deep, and reminded herself, "I'm here. I'm okay. My brain is still mine." It may sound small, but her memory episodes stopped feeling like a spiral and started feeling like moments she could step through. You see, when the mind starts to calm, the brain has space to remember. And now, I want to give you something simple, a practice, that many of my patients use to anchor their brain and gently check their memory in a safe and loving way. Every morning, before coffee, before checking your phone, I ask my senior patients to pause, just for 3 seconds, and do this: look at the calendar. Say out loud, "Today is Tuesday, August 18th. I'm in my home in Denver. My doctor's name is Dr. Riley." That's it. That's the 3-second clarity test. Why is it powerful? Because early dementia symptoms can show up not just in big memory loss, but in tiny gaps, forgetting the day, the place, or even names that used to feel automatic. Now, missing one part doesn't mean you have Alzheimer's disease. But repeating this check-in daily creates a mental habit, a gentle self-scan to track how your brain is doing. This test works for both you and those around you. If you're a caregiver, someone doing dementia caregiving, try this test with your loved one. If they hesitate, or seem confused by the day or place, it's a soft signal worth paying attention to. Because early recognition is key to dementia prevention and keeping control. You're not diagnosing yourself. You're just listening. And your brain, when listened to gently, often speaks louder than any test result. Now that you have this daily tool, let's go deeper, into something that might surprise you. It's not just memory tests that help. What you eat, especially at specific times of day, can have a huge effect on your brain's ability to stay focused, calm, and sharp. So let's talk food, timing, and one quiet shift that rewired a retired teacher's brain in just a few weeks. Let me tell you about Glenn. He's 71. Retired teacher from North Carolina. Sharp mind, kind heart, and for years, he was the one people came to for advice. But last fall, something changed. He'd call his daughter twice in one day, asking the same question. He'd misplace his wallet, then forget he had even looked for it. And most of this, it happened after 5 p.m. "I don't get it," he told me. "I feel fine in the morning. But by dinner, my brain just slows." That's when we looked deeper. His breakfast? Good. Lunch? Light. But in the afternoon, he'd skip snacks, get distracted, and by evening, his blood sugar would dip, leaving his brain running on empty. Here's what I told Glenn: let's try a 3 p.m. rescue meal. Nothing big. Just a small plate with healthy fat, slow carbs, and protein. Something like half an avocado, a boiled egg, a few almonds, a slice of whole grain toast. That combo, believe it or not, keeps the brain's glucose levels stable through late afternoon, when cognitive decline often sneaks in for seniors. 2 weeks in, Glenn told me, I haven't forgotten anything all week. I even beat my grandson at chess. And here's the truth, we often underestimate how much brain health is affected by food timing, not just what we eat, but when we eat it. Especially for those at risk of vascular dementia or navigating dementia risk factors, this 3 p.m. ritual can be the bridge between clarity and confusion. So Glenn found his rhythm again, with just one simple plate at the right time of day. But what about the rest of us? There's one big misunderstanding that keeps many seniors from noticing the earliest changes in their minds. Let's clear that up in the next part of our journey. Doc, I guess I'm just getting old. I hear that sentence every single week. But let me pause right here and say this: aging is not the same as decline. And it's not just age when someone suddenly starts avoiding conversations, loses interest in hobbies, or withdraws from family gatherings. One of the earliest signs of cognitive decline isn't about forgetting names. It's not about losing your keys. It's this: you stop trying. You stop making decisions. You delay phone calls. You put off simple tasks because they just feel heavy. That's what happened with Ms. Diane. She's 74, from Arizona. Always the center of her church group. But last winter, she stopped showing up to choir. Not because she couldn't remember the lyrics, but because she didn't feel like choosing a song. Didn't feel like driving. Didn't want to talk. Her daughter thought it was depression. But after a full workup, we found early-stage vascular dementia. Not yet memory loss, but loss of mental momentum. And that, my friend, is where so many seniors get missed. Because it doesn't look dramatic. It looks like laziness. Or fatigue. Or just getting old. But it's not. It's a silent rewiring of the brain's drive center. The part responsible for action. Planning. Focus. The sooner we notice this, the better we can intervene. With nutrition. With gentle exercise. With lifestyle tools that reawaken the brain before the damage spreads. So if you, or someone you love, has been pulling away, don't ignore it. It's not weakness. It's not aging. It's a whisper from the brain asking for help. So what can we do once we've heard that whisper? Let's walk through the most practical, real-life habits that have helped my patients stay sharp longer than anyone expected. We'll dive into them now. You don't need to overhaul your life to protect your brain. You just need to stack tiny wins. Day after day. The brain loves consistency more than intensity. Here's what I teach my patients, especially those in their 60s, 70s, and beyond. First, drink a glass of water within 30 minutes of waking up. Why? Because overnight, your brain dehydrates. And just a 1.5% drop in hydration can reduce brain function by 20%. This one habit reboots circulation. Second, stand up and stretch every hour. I call this the brain circulation reset. Movement sends oxygen back to the brain. You don't need a gym. Just stand. Roll your shoulders. Breathe deep. Third, eat something colorful at each meal. A handful of berries. A slice of avocado. Spinach on your eggs. These foods reduce inflammation, the root of both stroke and Alzheimer's disease. Fourth, protect your focus window. Most seniors have 2 to 3 hours a day when their brain is sharpest, usually late morning. Use that time to talk, write, plan. That's your brain's goldmine. Don't waste it scrolling the news. Fifth, end your day with something real. A walk. A phone call. A short gratitude list. These signals tell your brain, I am alive, aware, and choosing to stay present. These habits are not fancy. They are not trending on social media. But they've kept dozens of my patients functioning independently well into their 80s. And here's the thing, it's not about doing them perfectly. It's about returning to them each time life pulls you off track. Because the brain rewards rhythm, not pressure. Now, you might be wondering, how do we make these habits stick? Not just for a week, but for the rest of your life. That's exactly what we'll explore in the next section, the secret to making brain care part of who you are. What if I told you the most powerful part of brain care is not the water, not the vitamins, not even the memory games? It's the moment you stop thinking of brain health as something you try to do and start seeing it as part of who you are. Because when you say, I drink water because my brain deserves clarity. I move because my brain craves oxygen. I choose calm because my brain remembers better in peace. That's not a checklist anymore. That's a lifestyle identity. I've seen this transformation happen. Let me tell you about Charlie, a 72-year-old retired teacher in Arizona. He used to joke, my brain's like Swiss cheese, full of holes. But over time, he shifted. He started saying, my brain needs me to show up today. He made his water glass his ritual. He used music and breath to calm his mornings. He joined a walking group, not for steps, but for stories. And guess what? 6 months in, his memory was sharper. He found words faster. His wife said, you're lighter. Like your mind is clearer. That's not magic. That's identity shift. That's the real win. Because when it's who you are, you don't forget. You don't quit. You just return. So today, don't just take the advice, wear it. Own it. Say it out loud, I protect my brain because it holds my life. You've made it this far. And I want you to know something, your brain is listening. Every choice you make, every small step you take, it remembers. Not just what you did, but who you became in the process. And that's what this video is really about. Not just avoiding dementia, but becoming the kind of person who chooses presence, vitality, and clarity, every single day. If that resonates with you, share this with someone you love. Comment I'm ready. And come back here when you need a reminder, you are not alone.